Today we're going to work on low back and hips, get some legs stretched out. Let's start our practice though the traditional way with our pranayama, our breathing exercise or our focusing exercise. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat. Let yourself really feel the ground underneath of you. We'll roll back the shoulders a couple of times. And if you're having a struggle with sitting up, feeling comfortable this way, like you feel like you're having to pull yourself forward to get yourself to stay on top of your hips, then feel free to put a little something under your tush, a bolster, a chair, a pillow, whatever works for you so that you can sit up tall. And once we're comfortably lengthened through the spine, we'll take some breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And what I'd like you to do is every time you breathe in, think of lengthening upwards, getting taller through the top of the head. And every time you exhale, think of lowering downwards, sinking, getting more grounded into the earth. Like you're just slowly being stretched a little more, a little more. And then take that breath and that length, and we're going to sway from the hips. So I want you to take your whole upper body and reach it to the side, keeping your sits bones on the ground. So instead of rounding over this way and that, we're trying to move the whole torso away from the pelvis. And we'll take that front and back, take the whole torso, shift it forward over the pelvis, and then press it back. And I am going to tuck my tail for that one so I don't just fall over. Go ahead and take it forward and back. Go ahead and take it in a circle. So for this one, we're going to keep our rib cage vertical. And it's just the midsection from the rib cage down that's doing some funky contortions. Circle the other direction. Let's get these hips warmed up. Go ahead and take the knees up in front of you. We'll drop the knees left to right. Excellent. Go ahead and hold them off to the left and keep them there. And we're going to exercise a little bit, lifting the foot behind you. It probably won't go very far. That's okay. If you're someone who not very far means that toe ain't coming off the ground, I want you to attempt to lift it and hold that attempt. Hold that upwards for 10 seconds before letting it down. Okay, a full 10 seconds that you're holding that attempt at a lift if it's not coming off the ground at all. Nice. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. And we'll do it over here. So same thing. If there's not any actual lift, attempt to lift for 10 seconds straight. And you might notice that maybe you need to do that on one side but not the other. Awesome. Let's take the legs out wide. Baddha or butterfly. Baddha does not mean butterfly, by the way. It means bound angle pose, because the knees are at angles and the feet are bound by your hands. I'm going to try to tip my belly button forward, so tipping my pelvis forward, rolling my shoulder blades down the back, lengthening the spine, pulling my whole torso forwards towards my toes. You might notice that my knees don't go down very far. It's just where I am. Yours might go all the way down to the ground, no problem. All right, let's put a little bit of oomph into this. We're gonna stick our elbows into our legs and actively press down. Not so much that it hurts, but enough that you're like, yeah, I feel that. Okay? And then I want your legs to resist. I want your legs to press back up into your elbows enough that your elbows are now having to work a little bit. You're feeling that in the shoulders, trying to press them down. We're going to let the legs win. So my arms are still working, trying to press down, but my legs are winning. And then we're going to switch. My legs are still engaged in trying to lift, but my arms are winning. We're going to do this back and forth. The whole time I'm trying to keep my spine pretty long. That does get very challenging as we're moving through. We're going to resist back and forth. Nice. Let's stretch out our hamstrings. We're going to take one leg straight in front. And by straight in front, I want your belly button to face your toes. That way we are getting the hamstring. Go ahead and lean forward. And I like this one because you might not just be feeling the hamstring, you might also be feeling the low back. Could be into the glutes here. If I want to stretch my foot or my calves, I can intentionally pull my toes back. And then we'll take the other side. So this one bent in, this one straight out. Belly button facing the toes, or you might miss the hamstrings. And so the way to stretch the back of the leg here isn't by rounding the spine, it's by tipping the pelvis. So if my pelvis was a bowl of water, I'd be trying to spill water out the front. We call that an anterior tilt. go back to those knees dropping side to side like windshield wipers. I like this one for me. It seems to reduce tension from the low back as well. That little bit of twist that happens, I can feel that length down the torso. Let's go ahead and hop up to cat-cow. So that's hands and knees. And our cat is here. You can think of that kind of hissing Halloween cat shape, rounded spine, tucked tail. Actively pressing down through the hands. And then the opposite, lifted tail, lifted heart. And traditionally we would inhale on this cow and exhale on our cat. So I encourage you to play with that for a moment and feel that full inhale and full exhale. Press it back to child's pose. Tail is reaching towards your heels. Fingers are reaching away. And bring it back up to hands and knees. We're going to do tiny crunches. So I want you to think about your lower abdomen here and tuck the tail and think about pressing your belly button towards your spine. A big exhale here will help you get the deepest layers of your abdomen. So that means that the repetitions might be slow because you don't want to hyperventilate. Awesome. We're going to add to that lifting a knee towards the nose. So we're going into like a cat, and then we're going to go back to neutral. Let's switch sides. Cat, bringing the other knee towards the nose. Switch sides. But my main goal here is going to be lifting the navel towards the spine. Don't get caught up in the knee thing. That's just for a little bit of added resistance. And then we'll take it to the back, very neutral spine. Resist the urge to cow on this one, okay? So long spine. We're going to take our foot and press the sky up behind us. Very tempting for us to want to kick our knee out to the side, but we're going to try to keep that knee right in line with the spine. Heel, keeping the sky up, not letting the belly sag. Let it down. We'll switch sides. We'll hold this one up there just so we make sure we get a good feel of what it feels like on this side too. Making any adjustments of tucking that knee in. Feel the hamstring, feel the glutes. And let it go. And let's go ahead and do some repetitions here. So lift, get to your full range of motion without letting the belly sag, and then back down. We'll do one more to each side. Excellent. We're going to play with all of that in downward facing dog. So from our hands, really press down through the knuckles to help take the weight off of your wrists and disperse it across the hands. We're going to lengthen the legs. Let's warm them up for a moment. Stretch out all the way down the leg. All right, so let's take our right leg and play with pressing it to the sky. Now it can be a little bit easier to disengage through your back here in downward facing dog. We can kind of feel that sway back because that is a way to do downward dog with that real sway back. But here we're going to actively engage through the low belly intentionally. Let it down. We'll take the other side. So my belly button is facing my lower toes. If not, if it's going out to the side, my hips are going to open to the side, and that's a way to do it too, but it's getting different muscles engaged. So for right now, we're going to try to keep our belly button facing our bottom toes and let it down. Let's give our arms a break. We're going to take a child's pose. Feel free to stretch and roll the wrists and fingers. And bring it on back up to downward facing dog. Let's go back to that feeling of our navel coming towards our spine. And this time it's not just going to go towards the spine, it's also going to go forward over our hands. So our whole body is being pulled over our hands from the inside of our navel until we end up in either a plank or a Chaturanga Dandasana, your choice, okay? I'm going to do a plank today. Go ahead and roll it back. So lifting that navel and sending it back. You can do that again, just like we just did it, or you can add the right knee. So navel comes up, knee comes up, pull it forward, press it back. Second side if you're doing the knees. Knee towards the nose, navel towards over your hands, and back. Excellent. Let's come down to hands and knees. We're going to do, I'm going to get off my wrists because they're not feeling great today. So I'm going to put knuckles on the floor. And we're just going to re-engage those glutes and hamstrings again, lifting and lowering. Switch sides. And let it go. We'll head back to our downward facing dog and we're going to put this all together. We'll take our right leg up high behind us Remember that our belly button is facing the lower toes. That's going to help us keep our pelvis level. And then bring your knee in towards your nose while your navel is being lifted up towards your spine and over your hands. Press that foot and body back again, back to foot in the sky. And let it down. We'll take the other side. Lift the foot. Knee to nose, navel to the spine, roll it forward. And press it back. Foot to the sky. And down to the mat. Go ahead and walk your feet forward to your hands. Let yourself hang out in forward fold for a moment. Great chance to again give the hands a chance to rest, maybe the shoulders, maybe the neck. Feel out your body and what area needs a little more attention right now. And then we'll soften the knees and either flat back or round back your way up to standing. We'll take our hands high overhead, shoulders sunk low into the back. We'll bring our hands to heart space and press those palms together, help engage the upper body. And let's play with some of those shapes again. We're going to shift our weight over to our left leg and lift our right knee. Press the leg back, and for right now, we're going to keep our torso upright as long as we can. How high, how far back can you get that leg? And once it's gone as far as it can, what if we tipped forward a little bit? Either bent knee or straight knee, up to you. And then we'll bring it back again. So we're going to extend, keeping the heart up, and then allow ourselves to take a dip before bringing the knee back up. Let's play with the other side. So that's knee, extend, go for a dip, and return back to knee. Last one right here. And let it go. Let's do a little hula. We're going to take our feet a little wider than the hips and let your pelvis get sloshy side to side. Kind of roll it around. Loosen up that low back, kind of like when we were doing the windshield wipers with our knees. You can let yourself explore. Let your knees just bend out of the way so your pelvis can feel the different positions. set that into a flow. Find your space at the top of the mat. Find your Tadasana. I love that. The Sanskrit word for what we call mountain pose is actually Tadasana, which is the same root as going ta-da, I did it. And it feels so lovely to just start by going, I'm already successful. I'm already here. On the next inhale, we'll take the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Breathe in, half lift. Hands can be on the mat, on the shins, or maybe you like a little bit of monkey pose for your half fold. Exhale, back down. We're going to take our right leg and extend it back behind us. We're going to start by going high. How high can it go? And then bend your front knee to slowly lower it down. Low lunge. Plant those hands on the ground and pull your knee and your nose towards each other. Lift your foot off the ground. Stretch that foot up to the sky behind you. And then bring knee back to the nose again, pulling the navel forward, and set the foot down as close to between your hands as you can. That is much harder than it looks like it should be. So if you need to grab that foot and assist, by all means, please do. Shift your weight over the front foot, step together, forward fold. Breathe in, come all the way up, either flat or rounded back. Hands to heart space. Next inhale, arms high overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Breathe in, half lift. And back down. Left leg high to the sky. We call this standing split or standing L. Bend the front knee to slowly lower it down. Feel the control through the core of the body, through the strength of the legs. Press down through the hands to lift the front foot up high behind you, three-legged dog. And reverse it, bring it forward again. Forward fold. And all the way up. Hands to heart space. Next inhale, we'll take it up. Forward fold. Half lift. And back down. Right leg to the sky. Slowly lower down. down through the hands to lift your left foot to the sky behind you. Pull it all back where it was. Forward fold. And all the way up. Hands to heart space. We'll add a little bit onto it this time. Take the arms up. Forward fold. Half lift. And back down. Right leg high to the sky. And slowly lower it to the ground. Okay, we got two choices from here. We're going to lift our torso. Maybe your knee stays off the ground, or maybe it goes down to the ground, your choice. But either way, we're going to really press down through this front foot to lift the torso up. Feel this deep stretch, whether the knee is down or up, feeling this front of the hip open up. Bring those hands back down. We're going to keep playing with that flexibility. Pivot to the side for a straddle. Let your head come down towards the mat. Feet are parallel to one another right now, feeling the stretch on the outsides of the ankles. And pivot back to your low lunge. Your left heel, your front heel is going to go up to the sky behind you for that three-legged dog. There you go. Heel lifting, lifting, lifting. Your belly button pointing at the lower toes. And bring it forward, low lunge. Forward fold. Breathe in, come all the way up. Hands to heart space. Next, inhale, arms up. Forward fold. Breathe in, half lift. And back down. Left leg high to the sky behind you. Slowly lower down. Excellent. We're going to lift our torso again. So once again, you have that option of knee down or up. Press down through the arch of the front foot, or the front of the heel, I should say, to lift the torso up. And let it down. We'll lengthen out the front leg and pivot to our straddle. You might find a point at which your head's touching the ground and you're like, this is all I've got. This is as stretchy as I can get because the ground is in the way, but not quite. Think about pressing your weight back through the pelvis. Maybe think of like it going back on your heels, and that will deepen the stretch again for you. Trying to think of bringing your heart towards the line between your knees. And bring it back over to your low lunge. We'll take our three-legged dog. That front foot's going to go up high behind you. Heels are going in opposite directions. Standing heel is pressing down towards the mat. Lifting heel is trying to get up to the sky. Bring it back to low lunge. Step together, forward fold. And we'll do one last Tadasana. Bring it all the way back up. If you'd like to do a heart lift, thinking of pressing straight down through your navel and legs while the heart lifts up towards the sky. And bring the arms down. All right, let's get down on the ground and we're going to stretch out those hips. We're going to start with a Gomukhasana. So we have the one leg underneath and one leg over the top. I'm going to keep kind of adding elements to this. So you stop where you're feeling a good beneficial stretch, not hurting and not in a place where you're like, I can't even do that. Okay? Pick the one that works for you. So we can start here. And we're working this leg over. There we go. And we know that we've got it when we've got both the butt cheeks really firmly on the ground. You can feel that bone in your tail on the side there pressing down into the mat. And I'm going to think of pulling this knee towards my opposite armpit. And then I'm going to think of pressing the knee down. So I'm going knee over knee. It's going to stretch this hip in a different way. Still thinking of pressing the hip down. But now I've got knee over knee. My other hip's starting to talk to me now as well. And then to finish off this Gomukhasana, we take one arm up and over. And we can push it, pull it, or traditionally we grab it from underneath. This should feel like a stretch for the shoulders, and maybe some triceps, but it shouldn't feel twingy or pinchy in the elbows. So if you're feeling that, back off it just a little bit and wait for the shoulders and shoulder girdle to relax a little bit more. We're going to go from this position to Marichyasana. So we're going to bring that knee back up. There you go. That feels easy now. And then rotate away from it. There we go. So very long spine. And still in this idea of like, I'm just adding elements, take what works and chuck what doesn't. Maybe we take our elbow to the outside of the knee. It might help you elongate and rotate the spine a little bit more. The next thing we could play with would be turning that hand down and maybe threading it through the leg. So I'm my fingers are over here. And then maybe this free hand here just wraps around to reach for those other fingers. And let it go. We'll unwind. Take this top leg out to the diagonal. Ooh, stretch it out. And we're gonna head straight forward over our bent heel here, the heel of the bent knee. So I'm having to use my hands to encourage both of my hips to stay down on the ground. Bring it on up through the torso and turn towards the bent knee. And the long leg is going to bend up behind as well. So I'm going to get some quadricep stretch here by tucking my belly button back towards my spine, letting my pelvis curl under, feeling the front of my thigh or my hip or both. And there are 4 muscles here, right? That's why they're the quadriceps. And so if you make tiny adjustments in your positioning, you can target different muscles. Bring it back up. We'll do our Gomukhasana on the other side. So we're going to tuck this knee under this time. And just like before, decide where you are with the next several poses. Those hips down on the ground and the spine long. And then we'll play with knee going down towards the other knee. Sometimes the hips are okay with this, but the knees are not. One trick is to flex the ankles, and that can help hold this in a little bit more securely. And we can play with the other arm, up and over, push, pull, or grab from underneath. Unwind. We'll take this knee and bring it back up towards the opposite armpit again. nice and cozy with it, pull it in tight. And I notice that I'm also using my arms a little bit to push the femur down towards the ground. So I'm pressing the leg bone down into the ground, deeper into the pelvis. So again, those add-ons, we can increase our range of motor twist with the arm on the other side. Or take it down. Thread it through. Let it go. We'll take that top leg out to the diagonal, doing like 3/4 of a straddle, and then head right over that front leg. Bring it on up. We'll play with our quad stretch, bringing that leg behind, and tipping back. So if you're feeling this stretch in the low back, you're probably keeping your pelvis still and leaning back by lifting your heart. Instead, I want you to tuck your tail under. Hold that right there. I'm just going to check the time. Let's turn around after. Oh, goodness. Look at that perfect timing. Go ahead and let that go. Make your way to lying down on your back. If you want anything for Shavasana or relaxation pose, go ahead and put that within arm's reach right now. And we'll play for a moment in Happy Baby. Go ahead and reach up and grab your toes or ankles or shins. And allow yourself to explore. And allow the feet to come down to the mat. And we'll explore with a little bit of twisting through the torso. So maybe you take that top leg over to really accentuate the twist or the stretch of the outer hip. Or maybe you feel like you still need some stretch in the quads and hip flexors, and so you leave that top foot back behind you with a bent knee. Go ahead and twist over to the other side. And then let yourself get comfortable for your relaxation pose. Grab any props, blankets, eye pillows, bolsters that might make you feel more comfortable. Return our awareness back to that breathing practice that we did in the beginning, where on our inhales we think of lengthening up through the top of the head, and then leaving it there. On our exhales we think of lengthening our tail down away from our head. So these micro movements with the inhale and the exhale. See if you can develop a sense of actual growth and movement against the floor as you inhale up and exhale, lengthening down. In your mind's eye, you could picture yourself stretching further across your mat, across the ground, stretching from one end of the room to the other, slowly, slowly. Release all efforts and just breathe. to the skin of your hands and feet. Where they are in relation to your heart. Begin to move and stretch the limbs and the torso. And taking your time, make your way up to sitting. We'll bring our hands to heart space and our thoughts to a place of gratitude. Could be for something in particular or just resting in that sensation of feeling grateful. Together we'll take a deep breath in, and you're welcome to Om along with me. Here we go.